everyone, Jill here. Welcome back to the farm. I'm out in my beautiful garden this evening and I'm going to be harvesting some radish behind me. Not only are we going to harvest radish, I'm going to show you how I store these in cold storage to last up to a year. Now, this is what I do with all of my root crops. I do it with my beets, with my carrots, with my radishes. I have great success. But I've shared this and a lot of times I get the comments or maybe the remarks like, there's no way this works. I tried this and it didn't work for me. So today I'm going to break down my process and share with you how I do this. So I live in Central Arkansas, Zone 7B. It gets really, really hot here, right? So I'm only growing those root crops seasonally. And a lot of times I'm growing them a lot throughout the fall and the winter, and they're lasting me again until the fall and the winter. So I often get asked, does this really work? This never worked for me. There's no way that this will last that long. And you guys, I promise you, I do this. It lasts me forever. I actually still just used up the last bit of some of my root crops that I stored over 10 months ago. I still have got reserves in the fridge from my spring harvest, and all the root crops that I'm going to harvest this fall and winter will last me until next fall and winter. So it is a great resource. It's a great thing to know how to do, and the best part is it's so easy. So if you're like me and you don't live in a climate where you can, grow these root crops year round, which many of us can't, you have to be strategic with your planting, making sure that you're planting enough. So we do a lot of succession sowing. And then you also need to make sure you have a way to preserve that or store it. And for us, we do a lot of fermenting, right? So I'm fermenting a lot of my beets and my carrots and my radish and all my root vegetables, but I do like to also not have to ferment them all at one time. I prefer to keep them in cold storage, pull them out when I want to make fresh ferments, either eat them fresh, raw, roast them, cook them with dinner, whatever that may look like. So what I have here are some pruners. A knife would work fine for this, and then I have something that I'm going to put my radishes in that I can wash them easily. Now I usually have these not as deep crates that we use. It's our harvesting crates. However, those are all being used right now. So I do keep some milk crates on hand. When I just have a handful that I'm harvesting, I'll wash them in the sink. But when I'm, harvesting a bunch of these, I definitely don't want all that dirt going down my drain. So we're gonna harvest these. I'm gonna talk with you through the varieties, and then we're gonna pop these things in cold storage and show you guys just how simple it is. So you will notice here, I'm gonna be harvesting the rainbow. You guys, I love color. I love color in the winter and the fall. And so, you'll see if you're following me for a while, I'm growing different colors of radishes. I'm gonna be growing different colors of carrots, different colors of cauliflower. I love it. I'm unapologetic about it. There's something about seeing those bright, beautiful colors in the dead of winter that just really kind of do something for me. So here we have this purple plum variety, which is really, really stunning. So you all can see this is a globe variety. It is absolutely stunning. It tastes really well. So I grew quite a few of these. Now, not all of these are ready to harvest either. And so what I'm doing is just going through and essentially thinning these out. And what that means is that I'm leaving the ones that haven't quite sized up yet, and I'm only harvesting these bigger ones like this. right, friends, now that you've harvested your beautiful rainbow, we're going to do a technique that I call tip and tailing. And you can certainly save the tops of your radishes, and you can cook with them. Same with like the tops of your beets, the tops of your carrot, your parsnips, turnips, several different root crops that you could be potentially growing. And you could saute them much like you would a green. However, radishes are a little pokey. I don't actually prefer them, so we just feed all of these to our chickens. But if you don't want to compost them and you don't have animals to feed them to, you certainly can use this. I know carrots, you can get really fun ideas and make different sorts of carrot pestos and things like that. But this is where you'll need pruners, scissors, something of the sort. We're going to go through and we're going to top and tail these like I'm talking about. And essentially all we're doing is we're cutting the top off, which you could take your hand and snap it. I like to just remove some of the like some of the outer dirt that's on the roots. And then I'm going to go through and I'm going to tail it. And I'm just going to cut that off. So you guys can see here, I've got the bottom cut, I've got the top cut, and then I'm going to throw this back into my basket, and I'm going to do this to the entire process. So I'll show you guys up close one more time, and then we'll go fast mode. So top it and tail it. We're just cutting the bottom off. Now that I have a decent little harvest, we are going to take this bucket down to the greenhouse. We're going to rinse them off really well, and then I'll show you guys where all the magic actually happens. This is where I guess the secret sauce is, if you will, on making these bad boys last. Alright, so some things I want to mention. You guys saw I lightly rinsed and I kind of shook it a little. Your goal is not to get these super clean. It's just to knock off that excess dirt. More than likely, you're going to be cleaning these before you ferment them, eat them fresh, or toss them in a dish for dinner. So really, I'm just wanting to get off that bulk dirt. And so this is when I do really like those plastic crates. They kind of have those grooves on the bottom, and you can shake them really well, and it kind of knocks off a lot of that dirt for you. So just lightly rinse. You're not looking for perfection here, and you all can kind of see, I mean, it's semi-clean, but there's still some, you know, dirt in the crevices of this here, and that's totally fine. So one thing I want to mention real quick, I have had great success with this. I have had root crops last for up to a year, which is phenomenal. However, certain varieties are going to do better. My daikon radishes, which are these large Japanese radishes, often known for storage, they last a lot longer than those small little globe ones. And so do know variety matters when you're buying your seed. Make sure you're reading the list there. They really go in detail if you're buying on a website website, or maybe you're rummaging through a seed catalog, but it will tell you great for storage, and it will kind of give you an idea of how long it will last. And so I always try to grow the root crops that the market gardeners are growing, because usually they are growing a whole bunch at a time. They're storing it in cold storage like I'm doing, and they're pulling from it for weeks and months to put into their CSA boxes, maybe to take to the farmer's market. And so that's kind of like how I got this idea in this model, and it works super well for me. But make sure that you are, looking and trying to find those specific storage varieties that are going to just set you up for success. All right, so here comes the fun part, actually storing your root crops. Now, this is what I do. I go to the grocery store. I buy the cheapest box of bread bags I can find. You guys see, it's kind of like a baggie, but not really. It costs me about $1 for a box. Now, I don't love using plastic on my farm. In fact, I will tell you guys, find ways to reduce it, but I literally have been using these same plastic baggies season after season. I just rinse them out and they're good to go, and I have found that this works the best. I have tried alternative methods. I have tried reusable produce bags. They don't work as well. There is something about this bag that just I've seemed to have a lot better success with, and it is a really cheap option. And for me, if you're not throwing these away every time and you're able to use them, then we're reusing, and there's a lot of value in that. And so just go find your cheapo plastic bread bags at your store, and now we get to just toss all of our stuff in here. So now that I have stuffed my bag with my radishes, I'm gonna go through, give it a good twist, and tie it. What you would do at this point is you'd grab your pruners, your scissors, your knife, whatever you were topping and tilling it with, and you would just go through and you would poke holes all around this bag to add some ventilation in there. Since this is a bag I'm reusing, I already have these holes in here, and it works out really nice because it just kind of takes that step away when I continue to do this process. So you can see here, I've got a few ventilation holes, not a lot. When you pack it, you'll immediately start to see all the humidity that's trapped in there, and then it will kind of release it. And then that's it. I just go through, I probably add around 10 or so, depending on how full my bag is, and it works out really well. So what's next? Now it goes from the field to the bag to the fridge. Now I actually thrifted a fridge because I do a lot of fermenting. Now this was probably extra and a bit excessive. I totally get that, but I found it super, super cheap. I think at a yard sale, and brought it home for like 50 bucks. It's on my back porch. I keep all my ferments, and I keep all my cold storage. And so now I take this, we pack all the crispers full. We've got multiple shelves in here, and this will last for a very, very long time. Now with my carrots, I do notice that sometimes they start to grow sprouts again. No big deal. When I take them out to prepare them, I'm just chopping that off. And so these last and work so well. If you are looking for a hands-off storage option, fermenting super easy. You do have to have fridge space for this. But with like our carrots, there's not the extra step of like processing those and canning those. And some of these other things that are a bit more labor intensive, I can really get a system down, harvest them quickly, top and tail them quickly rinse them off. I have an assembly line with my husband where we're packaging all these, putting them back into the crate, and then literally just, toting them back up to the house. And so this is a great option if you are wanting to figure out how to store your root crops, you're wanting just storage options for your food, you're wanting to preserve your food better. I promise you this has worked for me, or I would not be telling it to you guys. This is, I've been doing this for season after season. I've tried a lot of different storing techniques. I find that this cheap and affordable way really does work well. And so I know I'm harvesting my root crops right now. I know many of you are probably harvesting your root crops. So I encourage you, give this option a try. If you don't love it, don't do it. If you love canning your, carrots, that's totally fine. Can your carrots. For me, I'm just looking for time-saving things, right? I'm a busy mom. I'm a wife. I'm a farmer. I'm like dabbled in all the things. And so I'm really just trying to create these systems for myself that are going to speed up processes, that are going to be really efficient, that I can put that system in place one time and it's just effective every time thereafter. So that's really what I did with this, cold storage method. Now you do have to have, space to put this. And so if you're limited on that space, this might not be a good option for you. But even if you're not growing a lot, you're just growing enough for your family and you can sacrifice a crisper or two in the fridge, I think you'll be really glad that you did this. So thank you all for hanging out with me today. I hope you get out into your gardens today, you harvest a few root vegetables, you take them inside, and you try this, and then come back and comment on this video and let me know if it worked for you or not. I'm happy to help you troubleshoot along the way. But thanks for hanging out with me. I'll talk to you soon.